All right, welcome Facebook listeners and also Blake Media listeners as well. This is Dr. Joe Blake with Blake Media, where we help you get your point across. And today's broadcast, we're going to be talking about obtain and sustain wealth. Um, well, maybe we'll be a little short this Saturday. Just want to let you know. Uh, I'll be going out of the country in beginning in October, so my broadcast will be coming from overseas, and I'll be in Italy. So over there it'll be nighttime. So, but I'll still be broadcasting. Maybe my scenery may be different, but I'll still broadcast, and the language could be different in the background too. But I'll still be there, being able to provide some information as it relates to financial literacy. And so with today, we're going to start out on lessons from my, finish up keep going with my lessons on financial literacy from my book, Joseph, Building Financial Literacy. And let's get to the text here. There, yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't find what you're looking for.
Okay. That's Alexa in the background. She wants to play music. I'm not sure why, but she listens to everything. All right, so here we go here. Over there. All right, there's a book. Make sure you have grab a cup of coffee. I don't have coffee, I already drank that, so I got some tea. Gotta keep my whistle wet. All right, as we get going. All right, so we start out with our model. More we hear it, more we get it, more we understand. So again, we talk about that knowledge, actionable financial knowledge that comes in, and this is part of that knowledge that comes in again, information that comes in as an input. Then we talk about that behavior. So the knowledge comes in, we wanted to change our financial behavior. So we change our way, change our being, change what we do and how we do, and how we do, so we could obviously change out our financial output. Inside, we're looking at making sure our ethical economic stewardship is adjusted, basics, investing, borrowing, and protecting. And again, we'll go over those as we go along as well. And those are items that we want to look at initially, maybe on a monthly basis, could be on a quarterly basis, could be on a semi-annual basis or annual basis as we get our skill level up. And in doing so, we do that on a consistent basis. Well, within that, these are behavior steps that we have to look through as well, or models. Well, this is a behavior model. We look at the economic standpoint. So this is a shopping cart that we look through as well. Now, the shopping cart, you use the shopping cart in each stage of your shopping list, so to speak, on your skill level. So you're looking at one, are the actions you're taking having the right economic effect? Number two is are those economic checks having the right financial impact on your influence on your life? Three, the questions are the questions or the answers to questions 1 and 2 having is it monetarily fallout? Are you trying to become a millionaire overnight? And then question 4, the answers are the results of questions 1, 2, and 3. Is it unrealistic? Right? If you're thinking that you're going to be a multimillionaire, or you're going to say a dollar is going to come, $200,000 in one day, one sitting, 1 year. No, it takes time. Wealth is accumulated over time. And then 3, the last question there, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Can what you're doing be recreated immediately within the others, or in a larger part of the community or society as a whole? Can what you do be recreated, or would you want it to be recreated in a community as a whole? So that again is a part of behavior, and use that behavior model within that skill set in each stage. So you use that behavior model within that ethical economic stewardship, within the money basics, and so on. Okay. All right. So now we're in the area where I talk about the method to my discovery. So the methods that I use, the methods that I thought of when I started doing the interviews of those 30 folks at the 3 different churches that I went to. And in my study, as I mentioned, I went to 3 locations. One was a primarily African-American church. The other was a Latino church. And the third church that I went to was Anglo. So Anglo, African-American, and Latino. Those 3 main churches. And I stayed there for about 2 months, 2.5 months to get the collection of the data. And on a personal note, while I was collecting the data, I went through, I was going through personal illness myself. I ended up I was going through prostate cancer during that time, surgery, going through my doctoral degree, and my mother passed away. So I had medical challenges myself. I had a death in the family. And even though going through those challenges, I stayed focused to do this research. So it was not easy. It was not perfect, but I knew this is what God wanted me to do. And I kept doing it, and I did it. So what I'm sharing with you, I knew it was God's purpose for my life to get done. And I did not stop, and I did not quit. I kept going. So I'm sharing this with my heart with you. So you may be going through some things right now. You may want to stop, you may want to quit. Keep going, because God put something in your heart to do it, you do it. Okay? All right. I don't know why I said that. Maybe somebody need to hear it, but I said it. Okay, here we go. All right. So when we're looking at, when I was looking at the study, I was looking at I found that there was a disconnect between what faith-based epistemology and the influence of financial literacy. And I found that it was based on the economic behaviors that was being seen. You know, that's what I saw. There was a disconnect. And remember that epistemology is the study of knowledge, and financial literacy was gaining economic information and then using those concepts. So study of knowledge, so the faith knowledge is what you're gaining from the word, and then gaining access to economic information. And then once you gain the information, then you got to use it. So the word says one thing, then you have to gain the economic information. But once you get it, you got to use it. So you can have the information all day long, get access to the information all day long. But if you don't use it, well, I get it. If you know that this is going to, you got to put this away over this period of time, and then you don't do it, it makes no difference. You're not going to get anywhere. Stand the ground. Okay, let me go down this road. And if you don't go down the road, then you won't ever find out if it's going to be good or not good for you, effective or not effective. Just go down that road. If it's not the road for you, you'll find out. Start over, then do it again. You won't find out if you're going to be successful or not if you don't take a chance on yourself, take a chance on what God has had for you. If it's not the right road, God will let you know. And he said, well, I may lose, I might as life. Sometimes you go to and you realize that but before you lose your skin or God, that you went down the wrong road. And then there's times you go down that road, it's the wrong road, but you go anyway. God said, now I told you to go and talk to this guy over here. I told you to go down this road over there. And God said, no, God, I told you to go over here, but I'm going to throw over here because I don't like that. And you go down this road over here, and you go down that road, and you fall, skin your knee, and you say, oh man, I shouldn't have done that, God. Yeah, I know. I told you, but no. yourself said, no, I'm not doing that, God, I'm gonna go over here. And then when you go over there and you skin your knee, then you're in trouble. But sometimes that happens. Sometimes you have to go through the hard roads to get there. But it's okay. Sometimes we have to learn that way. All right. So another one of the articles that I read was from Estalon. It's 2009. The paper says 2008, but this is a scientific journal, scientific article. You can't really get this out of a magazine, or you can't go down to Barnes & Noble to pick it up. It comes from the Journal of Financial Services Marketing. You have to either have access to the journal through your college academic library, or access to it because you're a PhD candidate. But this article has had a wealth of information in it, and got some great resource information from it that helped me formulate, gain information to it. The title just talks about suboptimal, which is a good way to explain it is like kind of under your eyes, under the radar type of things that people don't really see when they're looking at it. So in this case here, what I found is that I wanted to see was religious prosperity teaching correlated in the literacy of people to the degree that they were able to obtain and sustain wealth. So were believers able to obtain the wealth, and then once they got it, were they able to sustain it? So if we are reading the Bible and it's talking about how to obtain wealth, how to get it, then once you get it, were you able to keep it, maintain it, and grow it? So we always says, yes, I'm prosperous, I'm blessed, and I'm highly favored. Okay, well, if you're blessed, wealthy, highly favored, you have it. Have you kept it, and have you grown? If you have your wealth and you have your vehicles, your homes, and all those things, and you were able to obtain that wealth, you obtained that money, have you kept it? Have you kept that status? Have you maintained that status? So think about it and ask yourself, were you able to obtain and were you able to sustain that wealth? So were you able to walk the walk and talk the talk? Were you able to get the wealth and keep the wealth? Sometimes you hear about some of the sports players, not just, any sport can be there, but any sports, they get paid the multi-million dollars. They, first they start in the hood and they get the multi-million dollars, and then all of a sudden they get the multi-million dollar status. And after a while, they get those millions. They never had millions, so they never got trained to be able to keep the million. And those millions and honor mindset gets into a millionaire status, but they haven't changed their way of thinking, and then they lose it all because they don't have any idea how to manage that kind of wealth. Then they lose it and they go right back to where they were before because they never changed their ways. They never changed their thoughts. They never changed their habits. They never changed their behaviors. There was no change in between. They just lived in this world of I wish I woulda, coulda, woulda, shoulda. And then it gets to the world where they had that kind of wealth, and they think it's a candy land, a play world, and they never faced reality of looking at where they had what they had, or they make choices and things that didn't matter, thinking it was going to come forever. And then once they get older, their body doesn't do what the things they physically couldn't do before. They get injured, and then the injury sidelines them for they can't play that game before, or they get injured, and if they're a singer, they can't sing the way they used to sing anymore. They start taking drugs or what have you, and that sidelines them. They can't do that thing, and now what that cash cow that he had destroys him. And they can't do that gift. They don't have that gift anymore. They get into the drugs, and then boom, they're right back in that condition they were before they got the wealth. And then, what do you do? That's that time of wilderness, man, you were in. And when you get to that time of wilderness and you can't recover, you out there. So so you got to be able to obtain and sustain that wealth. Now, I know for some people I'm preaching to the choir, some folks, but be honest, that was me. That was me. I got to that point. I was 27 years old, and I was from the hood, and I had my first house built from the ground floor up. I was 27 years old. I had my first house built from the ground floor up. 27. Had 3 kids, married, had 2 brand new cars, had a conversion van, and had two radios in the conversion van. The back seat of the conversion van folded out. Had a cooler in the back, man, had a TV, VCR, and had a Nintendo game in there so my kids can play with the Nintendo game. And had a 10-foot satellite dish in the backyard. And I had a 62-inch TV where I, started watching Super Bowl and everything. That was way back when the UFC, I don't really watch too much, but the UFC, the fighting thing, when it first came out, I watched UFC #1 on that TV, and I think they have the UFC like 200 and some right now. And I thought I was living like a king. I was 27. And I lost all that. I wasn't a man who I thought I was a man, but I wasn't a man who I thought I was. And I lost all that. And it took me 20 years. I was walking in the wilderness for 20 years to regain all of that. I had to do a lot of growth, a lot of growing, a lot of understanding about who I was as a man, who I was as supposed to be as a husband, as a father. I had to do a lot of growing because I obtained some things, but I wasn't able to sustain it. 20 years for me to come back and realize what I needed to do. So when I see obtaining was the easy part, but sustaining was the tough part. So when I had to look up sustain, so I looked in the Oxford Dictionary. So I don't look in the regular like Webster. I'm kind of nerdy like that. So I looked in the Oxford Dictionary. It says so. I like the second description of it. So it says the cause to continue or be prolonged for an extended period or without interruption. So you want to be able to sustain without any interruption. So being sustained without without interruption. So you want to obtain the wealth and without any interruption in what you're doing. So I said, okay, that sounds good. So but that's always a natural way of seeing things, right? You want to go to the dictionary. So the other, I said, okay, well, I always got to go to the word for the other side of it. So then I looked into the word, and I looked at the word sustain, and I found 3 examples that I thought were very relevant for me. And I did it for myself because, like I said, I was doing this study. It was God's study that He gave me, but I wanted to be able to have that study and to share it with everyone else. So part of our research, again, it was to, how can I do the research where it can change not only myself and others, but for the larger goal of society as a whole. So in the three examples, I have the example where Elijah was talking to the widow woman, or God was talking to Elijah, and God told Elijah to go down and talk to the widow woman in Zarephath. And He said, the widow woman will sustain thee. So the widow woman said she didn't have much and it just had enough for her and her son. But God told him to go down to that widow woman who didn't have much, but it was enough for that widow woman to sustain him. And what was sustain? Without end. She had enough for both of them and her son. Then the other example was in the book of Nehemiah, and that's when the Israelites were in the wilderness, and they were in the wilderness, but he sustained them in the wilderness for 40 years before they went into the promised land. He sustained them. And so for me, I was in the wilderness for 20 years because I lost my house, and it took me that time to turn around, and I was still okay for that 20 years. It was a tussle, but I was okay, and I had something to eat. I had a car to drive, wasn't the best car. So I had this one car called Jingle Jangle, and yeah, that's another story. Jingle Jangle was no joke, but I had Jingle Jangle, but now I have a Tesla. So I mean, I look back and I said, I thank the Lord, for taking care of me when I was in the wilderness like that. And then the third example of sustain that I looked at was in Psalms, and that's when David was talking about Psalm. And in that particular scripture, it said, cast our cares upon the Lord, and He'll sustain us. So when if we try to take care of things ourselves, it doesn't work out. And that's where I'll give you an example in the beginning, how sometimes God tells us to go to the left, when we say, I don't like that guy, Lord. And we go to the right, and we get down to the right, and we get jacked up. And then the Lord said, well, I told you to take a left. No, you want to take a right, and all your blockers are over here to the left. But no, you want to go to the right, take this, this over here, but you didn't see the safety coming off the side over here, and you get squashed. So, so sustaining. God sends you places where you can be sustained because He already ordained that path for you. So, that's what I looked at. So sometimes the places that God sent you to be sustained may sound simple. It may sound kind of plain. It may sound like it can't be that easy, God. It can't be that easy to go over here, and then you're gonna, this one person is going to be the person that helps me. This one person is going to be the one that, saves me or put me in the right place. It can't be. It can't be that brother over there who got. No, it can't be him. And so, but God sends you there. It could be the simplest thing. So, like obtaining a sustaining wealth can't be that simple. It can't be that simple. So this next video here, I'm going to show you, is going to give you some little simple things, simple principles for kind of obtaining the wealth. And it's I'm just easy and plain and simple like this. So let me just I like to use YouTube because they got little simple things that's on there, nothing fancy. So here's a little video for us to kind of take a look at. Okay, so four simple things. It talks about investing weekly. Uh, if you can't, in some cases you can't really do it weekly, but you can do at least monthly. Yeah. So when you consistently put money away uh, on a monthly basis, they call it dollar cost averaging. Uh, your money builds up over a period of time. So and I always use the same principle. You plant your seed, you give it some time, and then you reap the harvest. So, investing doesn't come where you just get it, boom, put $10,000 away, and then next, 6 months from now, it's going to be $50,000. Investments don't work that way. It takes time. You really can't tell when the market is going to go boom or boom, or if you're going to buy that one stock that's going to turn into $1 million overnight. It doesn't. Only way it works that way is if you got 100 grand and you find something like that. If you got 100 grand to lose today or tomorrow, maybe you'll find it. But you have to have like 100 grand. 10,000 is not going to make it. 20,000 is not going to make it. Because brokers, individual brokers, they don't make money off of 10 grand. And 10 grand is not enough for them to bother with, to sit down with you. If you got 10,000, they'll tell you go to the bank. You got 20,000, they'll tell you to go to the bank. The only time they'll play with that kind of money to run with, 6 figures or more. And if someone tells you they're going to take your 20,000 and turn it into 100,000 or something like that, they're fooling with you. And if you go with them, that's like God telling you to go left and you go right anyway. And then once you get down that road, you realize it ain't the right way. And by then you done lost something. And it's too late then. It's like now you got to go walk around the wilderness until you get what you need to get. It's just like that. I get clients to do that. I don't say nothing because I know that's what's going to happen. I let them walk right into a brick wall. And then once they hit the brick wall, they won't call me. They won't come back. No, Joe, you're right. I mean, you were right, man. I shouldn't have done this. I don't say nothing. I just let them hit a brick wall because I know this one's going to happen. And it's just the way it is. But to tell you, I know it happens. I just don't say nothing. Okay, not a problem. Oh yeah, go ahead. It's like that. Brokers on the outside do not make money off of $10,000. It's too small. That's why you have to have 6 figures to go talk to a broker. That's the only way they make money. 6 figures or more. That's just the way it is. All right, so small amounts over time, that's how you accumulate the wealth. All right, and then just stop buying stuff. When I was in that wilderness time, I had cut back on a lot of stuff. I didn't have cable. I had the car I bought was it was 1,000, and man, that bad boy didn't have no air conditioning. No air conditioning in Phoenix in August is no fun. No fun. But I did what I had to do, man, to get through all this stuff, man. I mean, God was with me and my wife, man. Like I said, my Tesla now, that bad boy is like the bomb. I love that car. Well, I love God. He allowed me to go through the tough times like that so I can live now. Sometimes you got to go through the fire. You got to pass the test to get the test. You got to pass the test to have the testimony or something like that. And then glasses on here. So the fourth one was don't hang your hat where you can't rise. Sometimes you're on a job and you try to do everything for the man and be there for the man, and then the man just sticks it to you. Yeah. You can have a PhD. Yeah. They will still want to make you look stupid. They really do. They really do. And sometimes you gotta just, for the sake of your sanity, just push away from the job, or push away from management, and you have to go your way. I mean, God will make a way for you to be where you need to be to do what you have to do. And when it's that time, it's that time. You'll say to yourself, okay, I got to bounce. God, but God always, what is it, 1 Corinthians chapter 10, 13 said, God won't let you be tempted beyond what you can bear, but in that, he'll give you a way out. And sometimes you can say, okay, God, I need a way out. And you just, when it comes up, you say, oh, that's the way. That's the way. He tells you to go left, and because you got blockers over there, but you decide to go right, and you don't see that free safety coming over there to get you. God gives you the offensive play. I got football on the brain, but you got to take that play. All right. So part of the book also goes into qualitative research, and so my qualitative research is defined as a method where we focus on obtaining information or data through open-ended, open-minded questions and also a conversational communication. So this is best by getting what people think, but also why they think that way. So the questions I asked, because I did a lot of sit down with clients and sit down with customers and had conversations about money, had conversations about what is all about investments. And I would ask questions such as, what do you think? What do you know about, tell me what you know about retirement accounts. And they'll tell me what they know. Okay. And I would say, well, what is your retirement? What do you have for your retirement account? And so they'll tell me what they thought, and then they'll tell me about theirs. And if when they tell me about theirs, they'll, oh, well, I don't have one, or something along that nature. Well, if they know about them, but they don't have them, then I know there's a disconnect. And well, you can say yourself, what do you know about retirement accounts? Oh, okay, what retirement account do you have? Right. So if you felt that, you felt that in your heart, it's like, that means something's not right. I mean, there's some action that you're not taking. And then there's a scripture in the Bible that talks about in Proverbs, I think it is, about an ant. An ant doesn't have a ruler, doesn't have a bodyguard or king. They got a queen ant, but they ain't got nobody telling them what to do. But they know to stack up in the summer for the winter. They know that, no doubt, and they do it all the time. They'll stack up in the summer and have something for the winter. We know we get older. We know that when we're young, we got most of our strength time to build up things. And then we know there's a time when we get older where we just sit back and chill. It's not to say you're not going to work, because when you get older, you have knowledge, wisdom, understanding in your mind. At that point, you want to be able to sit back and just give information out. You don't want to be running down the street, jumping. Well, for me, I didn't want to jump up and down off of fire trucks. I love firefighting, I had a blast with it, but I could not see and slapping an air pack on my back, crawling around the building, And I had fun with it, but I was like, when I'm 50, I did not want to do that. So but you know that. So when you're sitting down and you're talking to people, you didn't know, why they know it and why they don't, why they did it and why they didn't do it. So qualitative research focused on that. And I knew numbers couldn't tell you that. I knew numbers couldn't define what people knew and what they didn't know. It's their feelings, their emotions, what brought those things out. That's what qualitative research done. And that's why I felt that was more important. Another objective of my case study was to create a rigorous research around a learning culture, gaining the knowledge from the research from a learning environment in the body of Christ, because we all read the Bible. I know I read the Bible front to back. Even though I read the Bible front to back 8 different times, and the one Bible took me 3 years to read, I still learn every time. I still learn from my pastors. I still learn from my mentors, because I don't know it all. I don't know. I know a lot, but I still don't know it all. I still sit under pastors. I still sit under my mentors because I don't know it all. I still learn. And but you want to be in the culture where you're learning and and where you're learning and you're gaining more knowledge. And I gain more knowledge by doing more research myself. I continue to do research. I continue to think of other ways where I can gain knowledge that I can give more to others. Why? I have a gift of learning, and then I have a gift of teaching. That's why I teach at the local community college. I'm teaching a class right now on society and business because that's one of the things that makes it is easy for me. I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland, the hood, but I don't know why there's business and things like. Well, I grew up doing a lot of business, but it makes it easy for me to be able to share. And the stock market. Some people don't like to think that the stock market is a viable means of gaining wealth, but it's one of the best ones that's out there, but it's not the only one. There are many different ways to accumulate wealth. You can, in stock market investing is one, real estate is another. Um, you can buy coins. I mean, there's many different ways of accumulating wealth. There's no one way to do it. There's no one way to 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 get wealthy. You got to buy a little bit of all. You got to buy a little bit of all. I have a home, and my equity just went off the roof. I got a lot of equity in the house that I haven't even used. Six-figure equity in the house in 7 years. My investments, six-figure investments. So you have to have many ways. You have to have many ways. It's not just one, many. And if someone just says, "Oh, this is the one way to do it," they're feeding you a load of it. You know, there's many ways to get to that wealthy place. So I'm just showing you the one way that I've done it. You know, I've been doing this for 26 years. This is one way that I've found and I've helped other clients to achieve. And so this one way is what I'm showing. And from my research, and I talk about it in the text about the different ways that I share with others. So again, this is the model, the decision model, and talk about knowledge, behaviors. Then we talk about the steps that are inside that you can practice on a monthly, weekly, annual basis. Then you want to make sure there's something that you continue looking at. Then we have the behavior model on the inside that you check within each one of the steps there. Here's my contact information for those that like to either give me a call. You can go to my website. If you want to schedule a meeting with me, you can go to the Zoom, and you can schedule a Zoom meeting with me. If you'd like to purchase the book, you can go to the tiny URL there, and that one I can, if you order the book from my website there, I could actually sign the book and send it to you. Then there's my Patreon page. You can get, if you sign up to my Patreon page, it has all the lessons I've taught so far, and you can be able to listen to the message, all the lessons in a row. If you missed any of them, if this is your very first one, you'll be able to listen to the rest of the messages in their entirety and be able to be caught up with everything. And then if you'd like to listen more to the webinar, the On Point webinars, again, you can log in there and be able to catch them as they come live. And there's one of the little calling calls right there is to focus. You want to focus on and follow one course until successful. And whatever one course is for you, follow it until you're successful. Okay. So with that, this has been Dr. Joe Blake with Blake Media, where we help you get your point across. And if you have any additional questions, I already gave you my information. And until next week at 11 a.m., you guys have a good weekend, and I'll see you again next week.